I have a message that's now streaming live on YouTube.
Okay. Okay. All right. If you're ready, tell me when you're ready, Dennis, and I can bring up the pledge.
Okay, I'm ready.
Okay.
All right, everybody, welcome to Thursday, February 10th, Robla School District Board Meeting, regular board meeting. If you please stand, we'll recite the pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, everybody. We have all members of the board in attendance with us tonight via Zoom, but we're here. And we have no announcements or decisions made in closed session. Can I get a motion to adopt the agenda as presented?
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Abstain? Carries 5-0. At this time, if anyone in the public has a comment to make, want to take the issue, let me just read it verbatim here. The purpose: individuals wishing to address the board on any non-agenda items which are of interest to the public and within the board's jurisdiction may do so during this time. The board may not act upon items presented during public comment, but may briefly respond to the statements, ask a clarifying question, or refer speakers to district staff or other resources. To submit a comment in symbol gamut meetings, enter your name and email address. The board assistant will review and provide comment to the board and enter them into the meeting minutes. To submit a comment on YouTube, type your comment in live chat during the live stream of the board meeting, and the board president will review and share your comment with the board as appropriate. And with that, we'll give a couple minutes to see if there's any questions to entertain out there.
I don't see any comments, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. Reyes. Okay, with that, we're going to move on to the reports. Do we have anybody from Robla Education Foundation? Mr. No. Robla Teachers Association. CSCA. That brings us to the superintendent reports. Mr. Reyes.
Thank you, Mr. Boyd. Good evening, everyone. I'll start tonight, of course, with our COVID update. I want to report, of course, that our testing continues. We do have on-site testing in the Robla School District that happens on a weekly basis according to a fixed schedule. Our testing numbers have increased greatly. That means the number of staff and students who have signed up has actually gotten very close to 1,000 people who have been signing up to be tested each week at our schools. And of course, I'm happy to report that over the last week, the positivity rate is declining sharply. Also, in regards to COVID, we do have some new vaccine clinics that have been scheduled to take place in the Robla School District. We will now have 5 more clinics. 1 clinic will be taking place at each of our schools in the month of March. 4 of those clinics are sponsored by the California Department of Public Health, and 1 of the clinics will be sponsored by UC Davis Health. The clinics at Maine, Bell, Robla, and Glenwood will be happening on a weekday after school, and the Taylor Street Clinic will happen on Saturday. All of the clinics will have 2 sessions, 1 early in March and then 3 weeks later in later March for the second shot. And so we're very excited for the potential that this has to really help our community become even more safe with these vaccinations taking place at our schools. The state mandate, I think everybody has been hearing on the news that it will be lifted next week regarding the need to wear a mask indoors for individuals who are fully vaccinated. I do need to make sure that our community understands that that does not apply to schools, that guidelines for schools are issued separately. So until we hear differently, we will continue to function as we have. And that does mean for us that masks are worn by all staff and students at school all day long. Now, of course, if new guidelines for schools come out, then we will be sure to pass on that information and make any changes that we need to make in our schools. February is Black History Month, and we are celebrating Black History Month in a variety of ways here in the Robla School District. We just received new banners that we'll be putting in the front of each school, letting the community know that we're celebrating Black History Month. We have sent out curriculum to our teachers to encourage them to make sure that they use this opportunity to be culturally responsive in the classroom. And then our parent empowerment dinner will be taking place on February 23rd. And that will be outdoors under a tent next to the district office. Families are being invited by people that we have invited, that we've identified at each school, concierges, as we've been calling them, who are sending out personal invitations to family members at each school. Our speaker for the evening will be Chancellor May from UC Davis. And we will have music, and we will also have student artwork on display. So it really does promise to be a wonderful evening. I did want to kind of make sure the board has this on their radar, and I think it's important for the community as well to know that there are new laws regarding universal transition kindergarten, universal TK as we call it. And it does require that over the next few years, school districts gear up to offer TK class for all 4-year-olds. And each year over the next few years, we will be adding a few more months that qualify students in terms of their birth date to be in school. So you had to turn 5 by December 2nd. Previously, now you don't have to turn 5 until February 2nd, and that will keep going later in the year until all 4-year-olds do qualify for TK over the next, as I said, over the next few years. For 22-23, as I said, the birth date will change to February 2nd. We have advertised that to our families. We are working hard to plan for this. We are paying attention to facilities so that we identify which classrooms will be used for TK. We have to monitor the credentialing to make sure that we have teachers who are credentialed to teach and qualified to teach TK. We'll need other staff members to support this work. We're working, Ms. Earhart is working very hard to identify our program description. Physically, what will the classrooms look like? What materials will they use? What will the schedule for TK look like? And we'll be coming forth once we have some recommendations around identifying exactly what we want our preschool to look like. And then of course, we're having the discussion around how this will impact the Robla preschool that currently serves 4-year-olds. We do want to continue to offer a 4-year-old preschool program to families as well. And so they would have the option of either sending their child to TK or continuing in preschool. And we're working to make sure we coordinate all of those efforts as we move forward. So lots more to come on that, and we will be sure to keep both the board and the community aware of what's happening as that evolves. And then finally tonight, we wanted to provide the board with an update on the budget. Mr. Castillo, our chief business official, is here, and Mr. Castillo has prepared a presentation where he is just, the governor released budget information in January, and Mr. Castillo has been kind enough to kind of put that together into a short presentation to bring the board up to date as to how things are looking for the future. So Mr. Castillo, I'll turn it over to you.
Good evening. Could you see the presentations, the screen?
Yes,
Okay. So good evening, President Boyd, Superintendent Reyes, and board members. Tonight, we will provide you a little update about the governor's 22-23 budget as was presented in the January. Staff attend several workshops. So this is a summary of that that I think that we need to be aware. So I will focus from the big picture, and I will spend more time on the detail that applies to Robla. So in the budget structure is pretty much a lot of the budget, 86% of the surplus, you probably hear a lot of the surplus the state is dedicated to one-time investments. And then the Proposition 98, that's the funding that we are entitled, the minimum that school districts are entitled. We are about 38%, and that amount has increased over the several years. So about 38% of the state has to allocate it for us. So you probably hear a lot of the schools are getting a lot of money, but the state is giving us a lot. Yes, the minimum that we are entitled, because there's different priorities at the state level, such as health, COVID, homeless. But we are getting about 38% of the state budget. Some budget issues, there's the surplus. However, the majority of the surplus is due to the capital gains, the top 5% earners in the state, when they sold stocks, that's the majority of the revenue. So the state depends on very few people to get this surplus. So as they actually did really well during the pandemic. So the other issue is that if we look at the inflation, compared to January 21 to December, we have that the inflation is about, everything costs about 7% more. So we have a glass of water in January, now we cost us $1. Now we have to pay $1.07. So everything is higher. So I went to what slide is this? Sorry, that's one. So the enrollment district-wide, we're experiencing this, the county-wide and the statewide, there is a decline in enrollment, so that affects us